On February 8th, 2026, the New England Patriots played a Super Bowl with a chance to do something no franchise in NFL history has ever done: win a seventh Lombardi trophy and stand alone as the greatest championship franchise the league has ever seen. Instead, the Seattle Seahawks beat them 29-13. Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker ran for 135 yards, and the record that stood since 2009 didn't move an inch. The Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers remain tied at 6 championships apiece, the most of any franchise in NFL history. But here's what almost nobody talks about: those 6 don't tell the same story at all. And once you start looking at how other franchises got their rings, the most titles list turns out to be less about who's best and more about timing, luck, and long silences that some teams manage to hide better than others. Start with the shared record. Pittsburgh won championships in 1975, 1976, 1979, and 1980. 4 titles in 6 years under Chuck Noll. Then came back a generation later and won 2 more in 2006 and 2009 under a completely different coach and completely different core of players. New England's 6 came in one unbroken 18-year window, from 2002 to 2019, under a single coach-quarterback pairing, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Same trophy count. One franchise needed 2 separate eras and 2 different coaching staffs to get there. The other did it without ever rebuilding. Here's the number that actually separates them: Super Bowl appearances. The Patriots have been to 12 Super Bowls to get their 6 rings, a 50% conversion rate. The Steelers have been to just 8 Super Bowls for the same 6 rings, a 75% conversion rate, the best of any franchise with multiple titles. Pittsburgh essentially wins 3 out of every 4 times they show up. New England needed exactly twice as many trips to reach the same number everyone quotes as identical. The scoreboard says they're tied. The full picture says one franchise has been dramatically more efficient at closing it out. Now widen the lens to the rest of the top of the list, because the most titles conversation hides some brutal droughts. Dallas won 3 Super Bowls in 4 seasons in the 1990s. 1993, 1994, and 1996, one of the fastest championship bursts in NFL history, built on Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin. Since that 3rd ring in January 1996, the Cowboys haven't won a single playoff game that led anywhere close to a Super Bowl. 30 years. Not just without a title, without a single Super Bowl appearance of any kind. The most valuable, most talked about franchise in the sport hasn't been back to the game in 3 decades. The 49ers' drought runs even deeper. 4 titles between 1982 and 1990, then a 5th in 1995. 5 rings total, tied for 2nd all time. And then, nothing since. 31 years and counting. But unlike Dallas, San Francisco hasn't been sitting on the sidelines. They've made it all the way back to the Super Bowl 3 separate times since that last title, in 2013, 2020, and 2024, and lost all 3. That's a different, arguably worse kind of drought. Not being shut out of the conversation, but getting all the way to the final step 3 separate times and walking away with nothing every time. But here's the twist. Neither Dallas nor San Francisco holds the longest drought among teams that have actually won multiple Super Bowls. That belongs to the Raiders. Oakland, later Los Angeles, now Las Vegas, won 3 titles across 3 different eras, 1977, 1981, and 1984, under 3 different coaches, arguably the most spread-out championship run of any repeat winner. And since that 3rd title in January 1984, the Raiders have been back to the Super Bowl exactly once, in 2003, and lost it 48-21, one of the most lopsided results in Super Bowl history. 42 years without a championship. That's 12 years longer than the Cowboys' widely discussed drought, and it barely comes up because the Raiders' glory days feel so much further in the past that people have stopped counting. Put it all together, and the all-time title list stops being a simple ranking of greatness and starts looking like 4 completely different stories wearing the same number. Pittsburgh. Efficient, twice built, and still the gold standard for conversion rate. New England, one long, historically dominant era that needed twice the attempts to match it. Dallas, a blinding burst of success followed by total silence. San Francisco, repeated heartbreak instead of silence. And the Raiders, quietly sitting on the least discussed, longest active drought of any repeat champion, 42 years and counting, with the sports history books barely blinking. So the next time someone tells you a franchise's ring count settles an argument, remember, two teams can have the exact same number and have built it in almost opposite ways. And the team with the longest wait for another one might not be who you'd guess. If you want more numbers that don't mean what they look like they mean, subscribe. There's more where this came from.